steadily it rises.
Hey, it's Jason ODB, the Lincoln Addict. Thanks for coming back to the channel. If you're new, please consider subscribing. If you're a return guest or viewer, thank you so much. You can leave a thanks, a super thanks, or you can subscribe to this channel if you want to show additional support. LincolnAddict.com. There's a link in the description if you want to buy a sticker. That also helps the channel. So in this video, I'll be as efficient as I can. I want to talk about the 64 Lincoln Continental convertible that sold at Barrett Jackson 2024 Scottsdale event, which was last weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about the car and some of the mods that are done to it to bring it to the Resto Mod status. I also want to talk about who purchased this car and what type of person that would buy this car, and then we'll wrap the video up with kind of a shout out to another gentleman that did an awesome car 2 years ago. So with that being said, what I want to do is share my screen, and again, stick with me to the end if you can. It really helps out the channel. So I'll start with this 64 Lincoln Continental convertible. Shout out to Ali. Ali owns Isotope Wheels. This car, as you saw, I think in the preview video that I did, I also did a couple of videos since the auction. I think those were live videos. This car has been done for a little while. And when Ali came on the podcast last year, when we had Escalante on, shout out to Suicide Kings, he kind of called some of the friends and the people that he knew within the Lincoln community, and Ali was one of those guys. I've met Ali before, and of course, Ali said, hey, at 2024 Barrett Jackson Scottsdale, I'm going to really bring some heat. Now, just a year ago, for those scoring at home, he sold a Lincoln for $250,000, $250,000 after the fee. What he wanted to do, and I think he really accomplished it, was, hey, let's come back again in a year. Let's up the ante, and let's dial in some of the things that, he would hear people say under their breath at Barrett Jackson last year. It's got a GM drivetrain. It's an LS. Things like that. So as a good business person, he says, okay, great, we did awesome today. How can we do better next year? Let's look at some of those things. But that's what he did. Again, congrats. We're going to take a look at this car right now. Now, this 64 convertible, if you can imagine, these are very sought after, even stock appearance. With the car, you're basically going to see black paint. You're going to see a convertible, and then it's going to have a lot of bells and whistles, including the wheels. These are the Isotope wheels that Ali owns the company, and you can see here a great photo shoot kind of with some really good lighting. One of the biggest draws to this car is it has a Coyote engine. So typically, my understanding going off the top of my head is, typically the Mustangs will have a Coyote. Shout out to my friend TB. Tom installed a Coyote engine in his F100 unibody that he built. So he purchased it from someone, and it was running and driving, or running on a pallet, I think. And you can buy these engines, and people install them. If you look at this engine bay, there's a lot of work. If you look where the electric fans are at forward, you're going to see a lot of metal fab there, kind of hiding a little bit, if you will, the radiator. You will see some of the eye candy, these fender braces that are made by James at Detroit Deviant. We can see here it has bucket seats. Another thing that Ali, I'll call it the Ali special. He's really honed in on a few key things. And if you would imagine like a larger gentleman or a tall basketball player, someone that this car might end up in their hands, he adds bucket seats to these cars, which is cool. Now, buckets were available starting in 64. They're getting very hard to find. People that have them don't want to sell them. But this is a great way that he kind of modernizes his builds. We can see here on the door panel, it's got the custom speaker pod. You have a lot of chrome redone, a lot of eye candy, with the way these door pods are set up, as well as the Lincoln emblem here. We can see a tweeter, it looks like right here in the door panel. A Flaming River style or there's a couple brands out there, but Flame River is the one that I always refer to as. But you basically a steering column that's aftermarket. It's going to be poly or chromed, and it's going to allow for an easy tilt column. We see it has coded digital gauges. Anytime someone modernizes and goes to a new drivetrain, that's simply the way to go. We can see a money shot here. All the four doors open. Got a white wall tire. And again, here is a view from the side. We've seen a few people do this. I think Ali has as well, where they install the battery back behind the engine. And believe it or not, it is pretty easy to get to, I think. Possibly this fender brake has to come out, but you can see a blue top Optima battery here. You can see the headers kind of going down. Believe it or not, there's a few guys that have this motor swap down to a cyan, and whether you go with the LS side of it, or in this case, the Coyote, which I love, guys are doing these, and certainly nice install here. As we get through some of the engine bay photos, you can see what it looks like here. I'm thinking this is where you could do, you could jump the car if you had to, and pretty cool stuff there. We can see again the bucket seats in the front. You've got a custom center console. Also, you can see the gas pedal has changed. Anytime someone runs like a modern drivetrain, typically it's going to be drive-by-wire. So it's like a newer car. You may not know this, but when you're pushing the throttle, the old days, like you were literally pulling a throttle cable and it was opening it up, and obviously speed was increasing. In a lot of the newer cars, and this has been going on for a while, when you're pushing the pedal, there's a wire in there that's sending a signal to say, okay, speed up, if you will, in basic context. Some of the photos you see here, again, custom door panels, a lot of bells and whistles. And this is going to appeal towards someone that's looking for, hey, I want that old styling car. I love the 64 Lincoln, but I want to go with something that's kind of more modern, more custom, a little bit over the top. And that's certainly what this build is. And it's a reason why it's sold for $660,000. In just a moment, we're going to talk about who bought this car. Again, you can see the white wall tire there, and a lot of the bright work, if you will, including the bumper ends and whatnot. They look awesome, and more than likely, a good bit of this was re-chromed or at least cleaned up to look very, very nice if the chrome was already redone in the past. You can see a custom speaker box here sunk into where the spare tire normally goes. And then, of course, you have the amp up here. We can see a couple of little scratches here, not the end of the world, but we do see the bar that John Cashman really reinforces, if you will, to everyone over the course of time with his career. And this bar is a requirement, really, for the most part, in 64, 65. I have a video on my channel if you want to check out how to install it. It's very easy, but that's a must-do in 64 and 65. We can see here QA1 coilovers. This is a non-airbagged car. If you don't know what airbag means, that's typical term used. The car has adjustable air suspension added. Typically front and rear, and you're able to adjust the height of the car. Let's say you go to a car show, you want to slam it to the ground. You let the air out, you leave the truck home, and air it out. This car does not have adjustable air suspension, but it does have adjustable coilovers. So again, I think a little bit different appeal he'll bring with some of those cars. Not everyone wants an airbag Lincoln. These cars look pretty low stock, which is super cool. You can also see here again the welds on the axle for the mount for the coilover setup. Pretty cool, really nice work. Underneath this car, it's clean, it's nice and sanitary. You've got a really awesome Borla exhaust. We can see the inside custom wheels back here. Just really everything is fresh, and that's what I would expect out of a build that's coming out of Aldi's shop, if you will. We can also see here it has rack pinion steering. Some people do custom build, especially if you're ordering a custom chassis for a retro mod build. Rack pinion is something more of a modern steering that people swear by. It's rid of a lot of the old linking things like that with the center link and whatnot, which of course come on these cars. You can see the QA1 there. All of this is stock, kind of that front subframe, if you will. So if you look back here, it is a unibody car, but I kind of refer to this as the front subframe, if you will, where everything bolts together. That's all, stock for the most part. Now, Again, if I didn't say this already, 660,000. I think it hammered at 600, and then there's the buyer fee. So you'll see here includes buyer commission. But oh, by the way, don't forget Barrett Jackson. They bring everyone together. They also have a seller fee. So they get a little bit on both sides, if you will, which is good for them. It's their business. Now, I know you're thinking, who in their right mind would spend $660,000 on a Lincoln? Is it really even worth that? Well, we've always seen the comment, it's only worth what someone is willing to pay. So oftentimes I'll see people that will kind of chime in with a little hate remark or a little frustration. They're thinking, man, I can't even pay my bills, and there's someone out here spending $660,000. What kind of moron would do that? At the end of the day, I never bash anyone for what they pay for something, okay? You've got business moguls who you're going to see here in a moment. This gentleman, I think, he's got it. I mean, this guy has worked hard. He's got a lot of cool stuff. But at the end of the day, I never bash anyone. There's people that collect fishing lures that probably spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a fishing lure. I grew up on a lake. I'm not a fisherman, so to speak. I do enjoy doing it once in a blue moon. I couldn't understand spending $10 or $20 on a lure, let alone $1,000, right? So everybody kind of has their thing. And the gentleman that bought this car, I think you're going to see he definitely has his thing. Now, Mr. Staluppi, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He is a businessman. And he has an amazing collection of cars. I think some he maybe parted with a few years ago in 2018. I've seen some different things out there. But he certainly does what he wants and buys what he wants. Now, there's a video out there. If you get a chance, look up either John Staluppi, or you can just Google his name. This video will pull up on YouTube on this platform, Dreaming in Overdrive, John Staluppi's Cars of Dreams. Now, this facility in South Florida that he purchased, and he made, let me take a look at this for a second. He made this his kind of showroom. And I believe at the time of this recording, about 136 cars, just south of 140 cars in this facility. That, oh, by the way, is a private collection. Okay. I think he does some charity stuff maybe once a year. I remember seeing on My Classic Car or something like that he would have a charity event open to the public once a year. I haven't had a chance to go to that. I know he does charity type work. I believe that someone told me he owns Monroe's in South Florida. There's Mr. Staluppi there. And, just a very accomplished business person. I think in New York, New Jersey area, owning dealerships, owning yachts. There's different varying stories that I've heard in reference to how he bought one of the yacht companies or dealerships or something to that effect. But just an amazing collection of cars. And there's a video out here where I do believe that he consigned some of his vehicles back in maybe 2018. You could just see Corvettes and 57 Chevys and one of like everything. That's awesome. So I look at, someone like this that's very well accomplished, and you think about Barrett Jackson, it's the Super Bowl of events, if you will, the Scottsdale rather, and you're going to have someone that's just going to come and, he knows what he wants. Now, I do believe, I haven't skimmed through all of the Barrett Jackson coverage, I did record it, but I believe he was bidding on other cars. And my understanding, talking to a friend of mine, TB, he will tell me that, Mr. Staluppi would, he'll bid on stuff and he'll bid it up to the price that he thinks it's worth, and he won't go over that. If he loses it, so be it. This car, I think we could kind of go back to it and go, hey, Jason, do you think it's worth $660,000? It's not my money, and I'm not here to really say that. I will tell you this. I think it's a cool car. I think Ali did a great job. Ali chimed in on one of my posts, okay, or one of my videos that batched over to YouTube or I think Facebook. And he goes, hey, I don't think it was a little luck. I thought it was a lot of luck. Ali has been on the other side of that. Okay, some of these cars have crossed the block and they changed auctioneers right at the time. And then the guy hammered the price really quick. And it was like, well, what the heck just happened? Right? So Ali has been there where he's had some hiccups, right? But he never gets down over it. He just says, hey, it's the name of the game. Let's come back next year. Let's go bigger. Let's go badder. So I'm happy for him. I'm not as close to Ali as some of you guys are, but certainly I look at a car like this and go, look, he's building something cool. And if you think about what a business is, there's tons of money out there to be made. You just got to come up with the right concept. I think it's funny, years ago, who would have ever thought there would be a business that would be cleaning the vent dryers for your dryer in your house, right? A lot of the older houses, it just vented right outside. Now your dryer stops working, and hey, what's going on? Well, the dryer vent's got lint in it. It's crazy the amount of businesses that are out there. So again, that's just one example, but I certainly tip my cap to Ali and any of the players and teammates behind putting this car together. Mr. Staluppi, my understanding, purchased this car. Guy's got plenty of money, and he bought what he wanted. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. I did promise one shout out. I'll give you a huge shout out to Joe Weld Custom. I do still want to get him on the Kinetic podcast. I haven't forgotten about you, Joe. Not to, not putting competitive stuff out there, but I'm just reinforcing this. 2 years ago, this car sold for $715,000. A lot of people said, hey, it'll never be, won't even get close. $660,000 is pretty close. Now, I will tell you this. In my opinion, this car is an over-the-top build. Around cars and customs for about 30 years, just being a fan of custom cars. And if you look at the amount of detail that went into this car, I know people thought it was insane years ago to sell for $715,000 with Coyote Engine, by the way. But certainly this is over top build, and I'm going to show you this here. Underneath this car was just stunning. You could eat off of it. So much detail. I love this kind of work, right? I love the fact, people are this talented and they build these cars that are kind of one-off. And the gentleman that purchased this, if I remember correctly, he was an older gentleman. He looked like he was in the 70s or 80s, and he spent $715,000. So before you discount someone being out of their mind, ludicrous, if you will, for spending X amount of money on something, again, remember, there's people out there that collect fishing lures and all kinds of weird stuff. And the amount of money they spend on that makes me scratch my head, but I don't discount them. I say, hey, if that's your thing, do it. Certainly, Mr. Staluppi has been successful in his career with dealerships and yachts and all kinds of stuff, I heard. So, power to him, to the cap. I love this stuff, and I hope it continues to drive the market in a great way. Last thing I say to you is this, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I forget to do that sometimes. The last thing I would say is this. Do not be discouraged if you see this and you go, wow, I'm never going to own a convertible. If you watch my videos or you subscribe to my channel, you will see on Bring a Trailer, there are convertibles that sell for a reasonable price. Do they need work sometimes? Absolutely. Okay. Is there a little bit of rust here and there? Absolutely, from what we can tell. But do not get discouraged. Okay. This, what I showed you with Ali and the car that Joe built, that's the highest end of the market. These are over the top builds, a lot of kind of no expense spared. And these guys are due all the credit, okay? But that doesn't impact typically the lower end market. Now it could drive prices going, okay, every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to bring a convertible next year with a Coyote, so all of the prices are going to get, they're going to go up. Yes, I get that. But 2 years ago, Joe's car sold for over $700K. We've seen plenty of convertibles come in way less than that since that time. Again, run-of-the-mill cars that are not custom, cars that need everything, cars that need some work. So, again, my only message there is do not get discouraged. You will get a Lincoln convertible if that's your plan. You'll get a sedan if that's your plan. You just have to stick to your gut, and you have to wait it out and find something that's best for you. Certainly $660,000 or $715,000. They're not in my price range either. So congrats to the people that buy those cars and work hard or however they make their money. Stay on the rise. Let me know what you think. If you leave a comment, even if it's just an emoji thumbs up, plus do a thumbs up on the video, that helps the channel grow. If you want to do a thanks, a super thanks, subscribe to the channel. All of those links are under the video. And if you want to buy a sticker, LincolnAddict.com. I do have some shirts available as well. Stay on the rise, everyone. ODB, we out of here.